I've successfully imported the data from Civil 3D, highlighting each one just to show you the variety of objects that I have. Please note I've forgotten some grading groups. We'll go get them later. Okay, so we're going to render. But in order to do that, we need some materials, and we need to set our rendering engine. So go to Render Setup. I also have my material editor launched. Check your render engine, Mental Ray. I now need to set the proportions of the image, so it's output size. Head there. It's a 16:9 proportion. So I'll set that first and then type in the number of pixels. Recommend 1280 for the width. It'll set the Y. There we go, for the height. We can save the file, but all things are done. Render engine, image size. Material editor, compact mode. Look for your first material definition. Notice it's a standard. Hit on the diffuse, and now use the color picker to set the color. Go to your second option. It's a standard material. Go to diffuse. Use the color picker. Set a second color. All right, 2 colors. Lots of objects. We now need to assign the material to the pieces of geometry we've brought in. I use the darker green for the grading objects, the terrace and the slopes, and I use the lighter green for the existing site. A couple of ways you can do this. Drag and drop. Drag and dropping only works if you have organized your file properly. So I've dragged and dropped. There we are, onto the existing site for the light green. And now I need to deal with some visibility issues to figure out exactly where my proposed grading object is for the north. There it is. I will assign the material to it, drag and drop. There we go. So you see the green for the northern grading object. And now we'll just turn back on the southern grading object. All right, 2 greens, 2 different states of objects. All right, file save if we've done something that we're pleased with. All right, I'm going to clean up the window a little bit and anticipate that we now need to make the sun. So close the material editor and then look at your command panel to the right and look for the light source. Default's photometric, change it to standard. We need to make a sun, but it's not present here. We need to make a sun system. Hit the system, then sunlight, click and drag for compass rose. Second click is the position of your light source, which as we know is a direct light. Now if we want to change it or alter the location of that, you need to use the motion panel. The light source is selected, go to motion, change the location. I picked Austin. You can pick anywhere in the world. I'm going to change the hour, look for some afternoon shadows eventually, and then change the day to November. Long shadows in November. Think the AE by precedent I showed you all. Good. Done. File save. My VPN just disconnected. Okay, select your sun. We want to change its properties. Make sure that the sun is on and that it's making the right kind of shadows. We can also change the shadow color. And then we're going to hit the render window so that we can have a preview, make sure I've got some colors. Yes, it's illuminated. All right, back to the material editor. We're going to make a color, a simple color, diffuse color for the landing. Again, standard material, just use the diffuse. And now you have to search for the geometry, and as you notice, your instructor forgot to import it, so she has to go back to the Civil 3D geometry importer, which will make life a little bit easier. Civil 3D, right? Geometry import. We'll open up the original file. Version 14. And now let's look for the grading group for the landing that transitions between the two paths and the north-south trails. All right, so what's nice is that you can bring things in incrementally after you've been able to set your basic materials and drawing setup. Select landing, assign the active material to the object. You can tell that it has happened because there's now little triangles in the corner of each one of those diffuse materials in our material editor. All right, good. Next step, we have to create some cameras. Camera, target camera. This process, we're going to make it as simple as possible. Just click and drag and then adjust the position either by eye or using transform type in to get the appropriate elevation. You've made it, hit the move tool, grab the Z-axis, there you go, we're pulling it upward so it's above the model. Now we're going to adjust the position of the target. We need to see what this is by actually changing the viewport at some point. So we'll make the lower right hand corner the camera viewpoints that we can adjust it. Alright, so it's camera selected, right mouse click to transform type in, and then you can see the true X, Y, and Z coordinates of the camera. Let's put the camera in that viewport, and then we can adjust the Z height so it looks like we're not having an out-of-body experience while creating this view. Should be around 13. Okay, and now we should move the camera. I'm looking for a view where it has the hillside to the left and the proposed grading in terms of path and terraces to the right. This is imprecise, but mostly based on preference. Select your camera, check your lens that it's at 50 millimeters, simulating human vision. Render window. Let's render that active viewport, which is our first perspective. First camera. It appears satisfactory. A little bit more activity to the left. Proposed grading to the right. And by activity, I meant terrain. All right, so launch that window. Now you can save it. Look for the the disk image, the floppy disk. Give it a unique name. Pay attention to where you're saving it. The default situation here for the 3DMax workspace would be to place it into render output. I have saved it into the scenes directory. I'm searching for a file type. I think I'm using a PNG file type, but remember you can use JPEG, PNG, or TIFF. JPEGs have compression. We don't need trillion colors. There's not much color uniqueness in the file anyway. And now we need to create the second camera. All right, create camera, target, click and drag. Move tool, grab the axis if you can. Oops. Right mouse click, transform type in. I'm around 7 or 8, I believe. So I'm going to add 5, grab the target, attempt to grab the target. I'm going to make that this camera 2 in that viewport so we could see in real time any adjustments I make to the camera. So you can see here I'm attempting to select the object, but I'm getting interference with all the other things that are happening. Yeah, don't move your corridor. That'd look bad. So select your camera from the menu to the left. Use the lock symbol there at the bottom so that you can move it without an interference of selecting any other objects. It's the only one that's been selected. And change it to default shading. I have a feeling I'm going to move the camera target, or at least I hope so. It would be a much more attractive image. Hit the render window, do a test. Okay, it's satisfactory. Save it as a unique file name so that you can use it to complete the exercise. 2 images composed on a page, PDF, title, submit to Canvas, and all is good. All right, good luck.